Hi, and welcome to the EarlyON. My name is Ashley and I'm a resource consultant from Lansdowne Children's Center. Today I'm going to talk about what happens when children experience stress and anxiety, what is the physiological response in the body, and what is happening in their brains. So, what is stress? How does it look in a child? As adults, we may perceive that something that's going on with kids is just really not a big deal or it's very manageable. But to the child, it may be interpreted as a threat or something that scares them. Stress and anxiety are very normal emotions for children to feel. Just because they are children does not mean that they don't experience stress and anxiety. It could be something like having a toy taken away from them, being upset, being asked to go to bed, being asked to do a task that they don't want to do, or other situations that may scare them or make them feel threatened. We may observe them screaming, running away, physical aggression, crying, yelling, clenched fists, or it could be subtle and quiet that might not catch our attention right away, such as hiding under furniture, developing small habits such as nail biting, chewing their hair, refusing to talk. It could be seen in many different ways. I once heard that it's not our role to join the chaos rather than support it. We as adults are here to help children regulate, and we help them regulate with co-regulation. But for today, I'm just going to talk about the physical response. And with that being said, what is happening in the brain and body when these very natural emotions happen? Throughout history, we have adapted to stress and anxiety, and it has been present through time to help keep us safe. When we think back to caveman times, those feelings are what kept us alive and ultimately thriving. I want you to think of 3 F's: fight, flight, freeze. These are 3 reactions that our mind decides to do when we perceive threat. That threat could have been a large animal coming to eat us, being casted away from a group, or it could be someone cutting us off at an intersection, or having to stand up in front of a large group to do a presentation. Our brains have learned over time to handle these situations, but our brains do not know the difference between being eaten by a large animal or just being cut off in an intersection. From the anxietyclinic.edu, we don't learn how to become anxious, we are born with it because it helps us survive. Anxiety serves as an alarm to protect us from harmful aspects of our environment. Taken together, that definition means that anxiety is an innate protective response to our environment. When we perceive stress and anxiety, our amygdala in the centers of our brain is signaled. The amygdala is the 911 of our brain. It's the emergency response. It signals the adrenal glands, which releases hormones that prepare us fight, flight, or freeze. Our eyes get tunnel vision, so we can focus in on what's important in our field of vision. Our heart accelerates to get the blood pumping to the rest of our body. Muscles tense to get ready to fight. Our stomach slows digestion to preserve food. And our hair stands up on edge, which ultimately would make us look bigger to predators. From the Institute of Child Psychology, our brains are made up of 2 sides, the left side and the right side. The left brain is our lawyer brain. It helps us analyze, come up with logic, organize our thoughts. It's the scientific part of our brain. The right side is our artistic and our emotional brain. This is where we are imaginative, intuitive, creative, and we hold our concepts. When you are in fight, flight, or freeze, the left brain almost powers down and the right brain fires up with emotion. We often ask, what's wrong? Why did you do this? Why did you make that choice? These are all questions that are redundant in the time because we are asking questions that are on the left side of the brain. When children become upset and anxious, they are needing connection to the right side of the brain. That's the right hemisphere. the right side of the brain needs connection. So we need to say things like, "You're so frustrated. This is so hard. I can see that that makes you really sad." These will help them ultimately connect to the left side of the brain to help them organize their thoughts and really help them look at the situation to basically help themselves. John Eliot said, "The physical symptoms of fight or flight and what the human body has learned over thousands of years to operate efficiently and the highest level. Anxiety is a cognitive interpretation of the physical response." Dan Siegel also coined the idea of flipping our lid. What I want you to think about is this as your brain. So we have the prefrontal cortex, which is the lid, and it's responsible for regulating the body. It regulates our parasympathetic and our sympathetic nervous systems. These are our body's brakes and accelerators. It tells the body to quicken the heart rate, breathing, etc., or to slow down and use some of their functions. It's also our ability to tune into someone else, our ability to have compassion and empathy, response flexibility, which is the space between an action and a response, and our ability to calm our fear. Without these functions, Dan said, when a child has flipped their lid, they are incapable of hearing or learning from the experience. When a child flips their lid, their body is interpreting that there is danger, whether real or imagined, that the child needs to react with fight, flight, or freeze. Their body needs to calm down so they can think rationally before they're able to process information. If we're expecting our kids to clean up their toys, and if they're really upset, they're not going to be able to use the front part of their brain. It's going to be flipped, and therefore all rationale is out the window. So we need to support kids to help bring their lids back down, to look at the situation and better think about how we're going to handle this situation. I hope this information has helped you to better understand what is happening when your child is stressed or upset over time. I'm Ashley, and thank you for joining EarlyON Parent Information Session today.